This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, July 13th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will visit with Courtney Knupp of the National Pork Board. Also, we're going to have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined by Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Kaden, day after the WASDE report was released. First of all, let's start off with that WASDE report. What were your main takeaways yesterday?
Yeah, my big takeaways yesterday, really, two things I was looking for, like a lot of people, I think, is the yield numbers for new crop. As we know now, trade was kind of looking for like a 5 bushel cut on corn, got 4, and we're looking for about a 1 bushel cut on beans, got nothing. Really, neither of those, I don't think, were too far out of line. Obviously, the market didn't like it yesterday too much, but we've rebounded today, basically taking back everything that we lost and then some.
And Kaden, I think about the last time that we had you on the program, I think you made the comment that, you know, it looks like we're not going to have another 2012, knock on wood. It seems like it's not going to be that dry, but did seem like there has been some crop damage done because of the dryness, some of the heat. So do you think those numbers kind of line up with kind of what you were thinking going in?
I do, yeah, and I'm certainly no expert, but I think USDA did, kind of what they typically do. They'll usually, when it comes to yield, slow roll a little bit, and so I think that 4 bushel cut on corn, I think that was right in line, kind of with where they typically will be. I'm not saying that's accurate, for final yield. It certainly could still come down some more, but I think as far as what they typically do, that's pretty well on par. Same for beans. It's this July report usually is about a month early from them doing much yield wise. Some people thought with the weather we've had, they might step in and start cutting. They didn't do that. I don't think that's anything really to draw too much attention to. I think that's pretty normal for them. And really, I don't know, depending on how weather goes from here, that bean number may not need to come down.
So, Kaden, day after the WASDE report was released, how have the grains reacted today?
Yeah, corn's up strong, beans up even stronger. Yesterday corn, I think, closed down 17 or so on Dees. We're up basically that. Today up about 17. Nova beans, I think yesterday closed down 31, 32, and we're up about 40 here at the close on November. So not trading quite as high as we did going into the report yesterday. But yeah, we've taken back basically what we lost post-report. And really, I don't know. I think it's just continued digestion of the thing. I think right after the report came out, like we talked about, the numbers weren't quite maybe what the trade was expecting. Sell buttons got hit pretty hard, started running stops. I think maybe today you've kind of seen people kind of taking stock of everything. Maybe it's not quite as bad as the report showed yesterday and start calling back some of what we lost.
And then, Kaden, on the other side of the markets, what's happening with the livestock?
Yeah, livestock didn't have a very good market yesterday, especially on the cattle side. We were trading higher and reversed lower, closed pretty poorly. Live cattle today pretty well even on a day, trading around 177 or so not much there. Feeder cattle continue to slide down $1.50 or so. Again, I'm not too worried about either one of those. I think our supply and demand situation is tight enough that those should remain supported, especially as we kind of go through this seasonal part that they typically like. And hog market up about $1 today. It continues to be pretty strong. Again, I don't think across any three of these markets, I think we're nothing too major that I'm worried about as far as breaking down. I'm just continuing to try to grind higher, set back a little bit, and then try to grind higher again.
And then, Kaden, we don't talk wheat a lot, but is there anything you're seeing with the wheat market and kind of what's happening with the conditions around the world right now?
Yeah, wheat got crushed for the funds, earlier this summer, kind of has rebounded. I'm not seeing anything too major from the summer wheat cutting kind of producers I've talked to. Most people are maybe not a record crop, but they're pretty happy with what things are doing. Pretty pleasantly. I don't know if they're surprised, but everything's coming out pretty well. I don't see anything too major there. I think wheat's going to continue to keep a pretty close eye on what goes on in Russia and so forth. But really, I don't, like you said, I don't see too much there out of the ordinary, just continuing to try to grind higher after the funds crushed it for so long earlier this spring and summer.
Well, Kaden, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch and maybe personalize their marketing plan a little bit more to them?
Yeah, just go to our website, agmarket.net. You can reach myself or any of our team from there, as well as try out a 1-month trial of our research and our app, kind of see what we offer and see if it fits your operation.
Well, Kaden, always a lot to keep track of whenever we get a USDA report. So thank you so much for the analysis here today and the day after that big report yesterday, and we'll speak again soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
That was Kaden Sweeney with agmarket.net. Let's turn our attention now to the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. September corn up 17 1/4 at $4.93 New crop December corn up 16 3/4 at $5.50. August soybeans up 40 1/2 at $14.84 3/4. New crop November soybeans up 42 even at $13.69 3/4. August soybean meal up $11.40 at $4.22.30. August soybean oil up $1.35 at $65.69. Chicago wheat up 7 even at $6.39 3/4. Minneapolis wheat up 8 1/4 at $8.61 3/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 3 even at $8.06 even. September oats down 1/4 cent at $4.07 even. On the Merc, August live cattle up 2 cents at $176.90. August feeder cattle down $1.57 at $2.45 even. July lean hogs up $1.17 at $102.35. July pork cutout up 50 cents at $110.72. And Class 3 milk down 3 cents at $13.84. And that's been a check of the Ag Market Recap here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Courtney Knupp with the National Pork Board. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today I visit with Courtney Knupp with the National Pork Board. Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Courtney Knupp with the National Pork Board, and we are talking international market development today. Courtney, this is a topic we have talked about before in the past about all of the great opportunities to expand the U.S. pork presence overseas, and we've seen that continue to happen, it seems like almost year over year, and I'm thinking back specifically to last year. It was a great year for exports. What was the year in terms of the actual numbers that we saw, because we know that it was just a huge year overall?
Yeah, top 3 year, 2022 saw, again, 27% of our production was exported. $7.6 billion was the value that it brought, and that was hugely helpful and very profitable for our producers in terms of their return on investment that they have made. And we really hit some new markets, and the world's returning to the new normal post-COVID.
Courtney, could you tell us a little bit about the differentiation studies, what those are and what are the purpose of those studies?
The National Pork Board strives to provide insights to our export community. So, for example, we really want to know what is the consumption or the size of the market over time, how do we grow that? And then we want to know the U.S. positioning in the market, so current market share and our ability to grow market share as well. Therefore, we've looked at multiple countries over the last 4 years, most of the big ones in Southeast Asia, North America, and we dove into South America last year with Chile and Colombia. This year in an expo, we're rolling out Central America, so we have 2 great free trade agreements that give us awesome access to a region close in proximity and with strong ties to the United States, and that's CAFTA DR and Panama. And so these 7 countries cumulatively make up a population close to Mexico. We dove deep to figure out how do we grow their consumption over time, which it's anticipated to do, and how do we maintain and grow our market share, where traditionally with 80+% market share for their imported product needs.
So Courtney, basically what I'm hearing then is, yes, it was a huge year last year, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the line. It's not like that's the cap on what can be done as far as export markets.
Exactly, and we are actually estimating about 8% growth in exports this year. It's a real positive area within the industry right now, especially with current market dynamics. We continue to derive value for the cuts of our excess parts of the pig, loins, picnics, hams. We don't consume all those in the U.S., but we can't forget that the value that it brings to the non-traditional muscle cuts, stomachs, hearts, intestines. Those things are highly valued, sought out, and part of the diet culturally in key regions like Asia and South America. We don't get value for those in the United States, so having access to selling those parts of the pig, huge value to our producers.
And that is truly, it's in the name, value add, because you're getting that added return. But then the interesting thing to me, it seems like there are more traditional cuts that are starting to get a little bit more of a foothold in some of these countries. Have you seen that with, I'm specifically thinking about, I know you guys have talked a lot about pork loin being a little bit more of a popular cut in some of the countries that maybe necessarily didn't always think of pork loin as a traditional offering.
Yeah. U.S. Meat Export Federation, our partner in all these key markets and initiatives, actually said at their meeting 2 weeks ago, this is the year of the loin. We're very focused on growing diversity of cuts and demand in any given market. Mexico is a great example, traditionally a ham market. We've grown into picnics as an option, but we've really been promoting the bone and loin. One, because that primal really can get or capture more value for our producers, but it also is a very nutritious, lean product that's versatile. And so we're teaching consumers how to cook. We're teaching the value chain how to merchandise and fabricate the carcass and overall build demand. So we're really focused on that also in Asia, and that's going to be a huge value over time to grow demand for things like that.
Another cut that another type of pork that we've heard about that I think has grown in popularity is ground pork. Is that continuing overseas? Does ground pork have the popularity that maybe it does here in the United States?
Yeah, you'll see minced pork is usually what it's called in many different markets. Very popular. Ground pork to Japan has always been a staple of the volume and value that we're capturing there, a top 3 market for us. And so we do see that. It just depends on the product mix and what's going into either further processing, but it'd usually be exported in terms of whole cuts and then actually processed in country to become that final product. And further processing is a huge sector for where our product can go. We can consistently supply quality in high volumes, and that makes us a very attractive supplier for those countries that have those needs.
So what would you say is a good way that the United States, or I should say US pork, has been able to use some of these studies, use some of these research topics as far as deciding what are some of the better cuts, some of the better countries to go to, and it's actually resulted in going into the country and seeing those results take place?
Sure. It helps us to continually prioritize our markets, so we only have a limited amount of funds that we invest here, so choosing which markets and which priority is really important. It helps us to focus on the tactics that will help us to achieve our objectives. And last but not least, it provides insights and value to our exporters who can assess that in their businesses, because the National Pork Board doesn't actually sell any pork. It's up to our exporters, whether it's packers or traders. So those insights are things that they can have access to and see how it fits in their business to approach the opportunities we identify.
Courtney, is there anything else we need to let our listeners and viewers know about when it comes to expanding international markets, international market development for U.S. pork?
Yeah, the National Pork Board in our industry has benefited from and values exports. We've invested in the past decades in this space. We've seen it come to fruition. We continue to do so. It's a long-term bet, and we seek to gather or gain more value for each unit that we send overseas. And we're really excited about that.
She is Courtney Knupp with the National Pork Board. Courtney, thank you so much for the time, and have a great rest of the World Pork Expo.
Thank you. You as well.
That was Courtney Knupp with the National Pork Board. Let's turn our attention now to the ag weather outlook. The sun is out and shining here in central Iowa today, and that's kind of the story for most of the state, with sunshine spread from border to border. However, are some slight chances for thunderstorms in northwest Iowa. Tonight, those thunderstorm chances will become much more widespread throughout the state of Iowa, so make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate to find out where that weather is going to be located tonight. And then tomorrow as well, the thunderstorm chances continue in a much more widespread pattern for nearly the entire state. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, mostly sunny skies today. There is a slight chance for thunderstorms in northwest Iowa. Highs expected 82 to 88. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorm chances. Low temperatures expected 61 to 67. On Friday, widespread thunderstorm chances across the state. It will be a warm day with highs expected 84 to 89. And now taking a look at our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Cherokee, a chance for thunderstorms, high around 84. Shenandoah, very similar, showers likely, high around 85. In Des Moines for Friday, chance of thunderstorms, high around 87. Albia, also a chance of thunderstorms, then thunderstorms likely, high around 89. Waterloo, thunderstorms likely, high around 87. And Clinton, a chance for thunderstorms, then thunderstorms likely on Friday, high expected at 89. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of our Ag Weather Outlook. It also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find all of our video content and previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. And don't forget our free twice daily market podcasts. Those are found wherever you find your favorite podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.